Let's continue on with working with our logo. The first thing we want to do is to move our logo to the top left corner of our screen. So select your logo. We're going to open up our Transform panel window down to Transform. Remember, Transform will let you easily move things to a specific spot, so we're going to choose the upper left-hand corner. The X position will be 0.125, an eighth of an inch, and also the Y position will be 0.125. When you hit return, you can see it puts it up to that top corner. To make our logo much larger, in the height and the width, we're going to link those together, and for the width, we're going to choose 250%. That's going to scale both the width and the height up 250% proportionally and make it much, much larger to work with. The next thing we need to do is to change the size of our artboard to where we get rid of all the extra space that's below it. To do this, we're going to choose our artboard tool. The artboard tool is at the bottom of your toolbox, and when you click on it, you get a bounding box around your white area of your page. When you click on the edges or the corners, you can resize your bounding box and also resize your artboard. We want to bring it in roughly an eighth of an inch to the edge. That looks just about right. To get out of the artboard mode, you can always select the selection tool, and that will go back to normal editing mode. I want to hit Command and the plus sign and zoom in. The next thing you can do with your artboard tool is to make a duplication of the art that's on that particular board. So let's choose the artboard tool again. This time, if you look at the very top in the control panel, make sure this option is selected. If it's not selected, this won't work. We're going to hold down the Option key and click and drag, and it's going to copy everything from one artboard to the other artboard. You can see how quickly and easily that was done. And on this artboard, we're going to change the colors to it. This artboard, now that I have it selected, let's rename it. This will be 2-color logo. And if I was to select my first artboard, we can also rename that artboard 4-color logo. 4-color means it's using all 4 of the CMYK colors to work with. Let's do the same thing in our layers, just so we don't get confused. In our layers palette, I'm going to choose my selection tool now. Notice that everything is in one solid layer. I'm going to make a new one. Layer 1, where I have logo, we'll call this the 4-color logo, which is this one. Oops. But I'm going to go to my second logo, select everything that's on this artboard, go to Edit and Cut. We'll choose Layer 2. With Layer 2 selected, when we go to Paste, Edit and Paste, we may need to move it into place. But now notice that it's pasted onto Layer 2. And if I double-click the name, we'll call this 2-color logo. To change this logo to 2 colors, there's a couple of things we're going to do. We're going to turn our lemon into an outline and also change the color of the leaf. To select the lemon, let's go into our layers. We'll expand the 2-color layer and also the group that we have. And we're going to click on the little round button to select just that mesh. Right now it's got a fill of a gradient mesh, and what we want to do is to turn it into a solid fill and a solid stroke. To do this, let's open up our Appearance panel. I don't see it over here, so we'll go to Window, down to Appearance. And the appearance is only going to show everything of how it appears. So what is the, if it had an outline or a fill color. In this case, it's showing that it just has a mesh. To give it an outline, we're going to click at this first icon and add a new stroke. And by default, it adds a black stroke around it. And by default, it gives it a no fill inside of that. Let's get rid of the fill that's inside of here of the mesh. Going back to our layers, keep moving it around. This time we'll select just our mesh. Actually, we need to ungroup it. I skipped over a step. With it still selected, go to Object, down to Expand Appearance. There we go. Now I have a group that I can open up, and I've got my outline, but I want to select just the mesh from here. There we go. And I can hit delete, and it will delete away just that layer. To fill it in with a color, we're going to fill this in with what's known as a Pantone color. Go up to Window, down to Swatches, or Swatch Libraries, excuse me. We're going to choose Color Books, and the kind of Pantones we're using are the solid coated Pantones. Pantones give you a variety of different colors, and these are all solid universal colors that you can actually buy that one color of ink. In our case, we want to choose a very specific color of yellow, and you can type in the number 102. We're using Pantone 102. When I click it, it will add that swatch to my swatch library. Let's see if I can find my swatches. There they are. And you can see there's my Pantone swatch added to it. Let's fill in our lemon with that particular color. Again, I'm going to select my lemon. I've got my fill color in my appearance. When I click on it, we'll choose to fill it with that solid Pantone color. Also, while we're here, let's get rid of the black outline. Under Stroke, when we click on it, we can set the color to none, and now it's just one solid outline of the lemon. We'll change the color of the green dot in the eye by selecting the eye. Now we need to find the eye within the group. So let's close this up. It's under Lemon. There's the eye. We have it selected. Now we can go to our preferences. And let's add a stroke of just a solid black, 1 point. And for this one, we're going to get rid of the fill color and set it to none. So now this logo has just two colors, yellow and black. The final thing that we need to do, got a lot of palettes open here, is make another copy of this layer. So we're going to choose our artboard, hold down Option, click and drag. With our new artboard selected, we're going to name this one One Color Logo. We can get rid of Copy too. We'll use our selection tool. Under the layers, make a new layer. We're going to select all the artwork that's in this third one. Command X to cut it. Choose layer 3. Command V to paste it into layer 3. Of course, we may need to move it up. And what we need to do is to create an outline for our lemon on layer 3. We'll even name layer 3 One Color Logo. So to outline that lemon, we're going to open up our layers, find the lemon in the group, select it, so just the lemon is selected. Under the appearances, set your fill color to be none. Set your stroke to be a 1 point black stroke. Now that we're finished, let's move these out of the way and see what we have. We've got 3 different artboards, and each one has 3 different color schemes for the same logo. We'll go to File and Save, and continue on to the next stage. For this last thing, we've got everything saved. I'm going to go to File and create a new document. We're going to call this document Stationery. We'll keep it 1 artboard, letter sized, but we're going to add an 1/8 of an inch bleed to all the sides. If I've got this checked off, when I hit the up arrow, 0.125 is the first increment. When we say OK, the bleed is the red box that's going around your particular page. This means any artwork that's outside of it is going to be trimmed off once it's done. Now let's place our logo inside of our working area. We can go to File and Place. We need to navigate and locate our cafe logo that we created. Remember, this is going to have 3 different artboards. When we place it, we want to show the import options, so make sure that is checked off as well. Everything else can remain unchecked. When we hit place, the options are going to give us the ability to choose which one we want to place. So it could be Artboard 1, Artboard 2, or Artboard 3. We're going to place Artboard 1 onto here, and we're going to choose to crop it to the bounding box. That way it stays inside of the area that we're working with. When we say OK, you may get a warning, but that's OK. Just say all right. It's going to follow your cursor till you click in the upper left-hand corner, and it places your logo right there. To scale it down, let's go to our preferences. Let me show you a preference we want to make sure it's turned on. Under the general preferences, make sure scale, stroke, and effects is checked off, or checked on. When we say OK, this time when we go to scale it down, we'll use our transform dialog box, window, transform. We're going to scale it down to 3 inches wide. When I click off, you can see it scales down, and we're going to move it to the upper left-hand corner, 0.125 inches away from the left and the right. Excuse me, left and the top. That'll place it exactly where we want it to be. We'll close out our transform box, grab our type tool, and underneath our lemon, let's zoom in so we can see it. Command and the plus sign. Click once. Give it a second to initialize. Once you get your blinking cursor, type in 47653 Main Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 05439. Now the font we want to use, we're going to highlight that, is going to be ATC Coral. So we'll go back up to our characters, start typing ATC, there's Coral Normal, and the size of it is going to be 9 points. That'll scale it down. You can then use your black arrow selection tool to place it exactly where you want it to go underneath that particular guideline. The next thing we'll want to do, we'll Command 0 and back out, is to place some leaves down here at the very bottom right corner. We'll go to File and Place. One of the files that they're giving you is an Illustrator file called Leaves. We've got import options turned on. When we say Place, we'll say OK to that. We'll click down at the bottom left-hand corner. And it did load it a little bit lower than normal. So we'll use our selection tool to drag it till it's down at the bottom edge of the red lines. Notice that this artwork is going over the artboard. It's actually touching the red lines. This means when it's printing, that portion is going to be trimmed off. That's why it's called the bleed edge. It bleeds over and is cut and removed as waste. Now let's create an envelope. I'm going to scroll over to the side, grab my artboard tool. With the artboard tool, I can click and drag and create a new artboard that's got nothing on it. And if I want to change the size of it to be the exact size, up here at the top, under the width, we'll set that to be 9.5, and the height to be 4.13. That's the size of your normal envelope. We'll also call this artboard envelope. The other artboard should be named stationery. There we go. On our envelope artboard, this is where we're going to place our other logo. Use your selection tool. We'll go to File and Place. Let's choose our cafe logo again. Import options are checked on. This time we're going to place our two-color logo, our second artboard, up here at the top. We do need to scale it down. So in our transform dialog box, open it back up. The width for this one is going to be 2.5, and the position of it is going to be 1/4 of an inch from the top and edge of the selected artboard that we have. Since we're using the same type, we can go back to our letterhead, select the type, do Command C to copy, go back over to our envelope, Command V to paste, and we can change the size of this one to be 7.5. And we'll place that underneath our logo as well. Once we're done with this, we can go to File and Save. And let me show you how to print this. I'll do a Save As, we'll call this Stationery 2 since I've already got it. We'll continue and say OK to those. Now if I was to print this, I would want to be able to print it on either larger paper, or in our case we're wanting to print it on 2 different sides of paper. So under your print dialog box, go to File and Print. And there's a lot of different things we can see. The first off is you get a preview of what this would look like on that page and also this page. Under the General tab, make sure we're printing just 1 copy. For the range, for now, we're going to set this to be just 1. Instead of printing both pages, we're just going to print our first page. Under Scaling, we don't want to scale anything, but we do want to print it as a tile. We're actually going to turn off Auto Rotate, and under Scaling, we'll do Tile Full Pages. We'll rotate this to the side so it'll print on 2 different pages, and we'll set our overlap to be 1 inch. This means it'll overlap each area by 1 inch. Under the bleed settings, so marks and bleeds, we want to turn on all of our printer's marks. This will give us our bleed edge that we need. And when we're finished, we can hit print, and this will send it to the printer. When you're finished, you do need to save this as the Illustrator file, and also print it off and turn it in.